Welcome everybody to the last webinar in our summer webinar series. Thanks to everyone that's joined throughout the summer. I hope they've been useful for everybody. So today we're going to be looking at the career service in DCU and employability coming out of DCU. We have Vanita, who's very kindly joined us from the career service in DCU, who'll be giving an overview kind of what they do and how you can use the career service when you get here. But before I start, just a couple of housekeeping bits. So if you could just keep your mic muted throughout the webinar, that'd be great. And then for any questions, just put them in the chat box and we'll get to them at the end. Try keep your questions general and only related to careers and employability. We'll try answer them to the best of our ability. So any specific questions, I'll put an email into the chat box. You can send them towards that and we can advise you best there for any questions related to careers and employability. We'll answer them today. So Vanita, you can take us away.
Okay, brilliant. Can you hear me okay, Frank,
Yeah,
there?
we can
Yeah,
hear you okay.
brilliant. So I'll just share my screen and we'll get started. Just bear with me. Okay, and you can see that okay? Yeah.
We can see that, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So good morning, everyone. Well, it's morning here in Ireland and may not be morning in your home country. So as Frank said, my name is Vanita and I'm one of the careers consultants here in the DCU Careers Service. So when you come to DCU, the Career Service is a facility there for you as a student. It's open to all students, undergraduate and postgraduate. So just to give you an overview today, basically I'm going to take you a little bit through about what sort of services the Careers Service offer to students and how you can avail of them when you're a student here. So basically that first line there is really what our aim is. So we're here to support you in developing your potential and empowering you to be successful in your future career. Okay, and there's lots of things that we do here in the career service to try and help you to hopefully get into that job that you want or to try and get into that career area that you're interested in. And I've just added the link in there for the career service webpage. So you can have a look at that in your spare time before you come over to DCU. So how do we support students? Well, what sorts of things do we do? So first of all, like I've said, we offer a range of services. So we have a number of career consultants here in the career service, and each consultant is dedicated to the different schools or faculties within DCU. And each consultant then has their own specific sector knowledge. So we keep up to date with what's happening in the sector and what's happening in the labour market through speaking with employers and engaging with employers and attending different events. And we're very aware of what things are happening around us in terms of career opportunities and the labour market. So you'll meet your careers consultant, hopefully, and potentially in your first few weeks here in DCU. We also offer each careers consultant will take students for advice and guidance. So say, for example, you're applying for jobs and you need support around developing your CV or creating your LinkedIn profile or updating your LinkedIn profile. We'll give you hints and tips around that. We'll also give you guidance around maybe some students are doing courses and they really don't know where they want to go after they graduate, be that an undergraduate or a postgraduate course. And we can give you some guidance around that. So we have short 10-minute appointments for like a CV check or a LinkedIn check, and we have longer 30-minute appointments, which are very much focused on guidance. We also offer mock interviews. So if you have an interview coming up with a company, and you need help around interview preparation, we will take you through a mock interview around your soft skills and help you prepare for that. And we have a good idea of what sort of questions companies will ask because we do work very closely with companies. So we'll be able to tailor our mock interviews in relation to the different jobs that you're applying to. And then, as you probably know, some of you maybe who are studying postgraduate courses maybe already have a little bit of experience and have went through maybe a recruitment process before. Some companies will ask you to complete psychometric tests or career assessments before you even get to interview. But we have like online assessments that's free for DCU students to use. So you can practice your assessments through these platforms. And they're all available on our website, and access is available once you're a DCU student. So as well, so that's really in general overview of what the careers consultants do and some of the stuff we support you with. But what other things do we do? So we have a number of workshops and events throughout the academic year. And this is really to help you in relation to your career development and for job searching also. So we'll have a skills session around your CV and writing a cover letter. We'll have one around interviews, and we're actually working on these at the minute, and we're hoping for the interview skills session I will deliver part of it, and we're hoping for a company to deliver the second part of it. So we really do try and get companies in to speak to students as well. Um, we'll do a session on networking, and we're hoping to get LinkedIn in to do a session. We're in the middle of organising this at the minute, so which is great to hear actually straight from the horse's mouth from LinkedIn's perspective. We might do one around job searching and your personal brand and how that's really important. We also run career panels throughout the year. So an example of that where we would get maybe alumni from a course to come in and speak to students about their experiences who are working in industry now in Ireland, and they'll come in and talk about their career experiences, be that undergraduate or postgraduate. And then every year, I also run an international student event. It'll generally be around semester two, whereby I get international alumni who are working out in Ireland, in the local area, talk about their career path and what they studied at DCU and how they got into their jobs here in Ireland. This year, we also had companies come in and talk about the market here in Ireland and talk about what it's like to work here in Ireland and some tips for international students searching for jobs. And I also do a few skill sessions too. We'll focus specifically on applying for jobs for international students. So keep an eye on any communications coming from this career service in your first few weeks. As I say, this event probably will be more semester two because there's a lot happening in semester one with careers fairs and so on, which I'll mention to you now in a moment. But things like that, that's going to be really useful for you guys to come to and find out about the different opportunities available, find out how students like yourselves came to Ireland, how they studied here, and how they got into their current careers. Just tips around that as well. We also have a lot of online resources. So we have our own jobs board. So if employers come through to us looking for students here in DCU, we will steer them towards our jobs board where we'll advertise opportunities specifically for students. Okay, so they'll advertise maybe summer internships or graduate roles or other opportunities as well. Sometimes they might be like short-term, part-time opportunities across a range of different industries. And again, you'll have access to that once you are a student here. We also have two different platforms around CVs and interviews. So our CV review platform is a platform whereby you can upload your CV and you get automated response in relation to what your CV looks like and tips around improving it. But you can also come to us and get your CV review too. This is just in addition to our CV reviews. So it's a great resource to get that instant feedback. And then we also have an interview practice platform. So what that is the opportunity for you to go on and practice video interviews. There's lots of different ones on there at the minute, and we're hoping to get some companies in to do the option of doing practice interviews. So it's not a real interview, it's a mock interview where you'd be able to practice how you answer questions, which again would be great then if you have an upcoming interview just to see how you're answering questions. So these are sort of new platforms that we've recently brought on board, which are great. And then we have, in addition to that, we have guides, we have booklets and podcasts and tip sheets around all of these areas. And we've sort of mentioned them like our interviews, your CVs, thinking about planning for your future in terms of your career, networking and LinkedIn, and around job searching as well. So when you come to DCU, I'm sure you've heard of our Loop, our online, hopefully they've heard of that, Frank, our online platform where if you're studying modules, then that's where your academics will put on a lot of your resources for your modules. But the career service also has a module on Loop, and we have all of these resources on there as well as our website. So you'll have access to that once you're a student here. So I know I've mentioned employers a little bit. So we do engage with employers a huge amount here in DCU. And we want students to get the opportunity to come and meet with employers and network with them. And employers want to come here and recruit DCU students, which is great. So how do we engage with employers? What sorts of things do we do for students so that you can get the opportunity to meet with them? So the first thing is we have employer presentations. So employers might come in and do a 30-minute presentation about maybe what their company's about, what their opportunities are about, and talk about the recruitment process as well and what graduate jobs that they may have. So we might do that. That could be one option. We also have employer-led skill sessions. So like an example I said earlier is they might come in and do a session maybe on interviews. They might do a session on CVs, which we're hoping to get some employers to come in and do that as well. And they might do, if some of you are from a technology background, we might get employers to come in and do maybe like a coding session and to help you practice for maybe online coding tests that you might be exposed to if you go through the interview process for certain companies. And then the big thing that we're really focusing on at the minute and doing a lot of organisation for is our careers fairs. So this is an opportunity. We will have 60 employers over 2 days. So on the 9th and 10th of October. On the 9th of October, we will be focusing on science, technology, and engineering companies. And then on the 10th of October, we'll have business, accounting, finance, and law companies. They'll be coming in here on campus in DCU. As I say, around 60 for each day. And this is an opportunity for you to come and meet with these employers, find out about their opportunities and network with them and see what things they have available in terms of what opportunities available in their company. And you might get the chance to speak to some of their graduates. Usually you find some of the graduates will come to the event and be at the employer stand. So it's a great chance for you to come and meet with recruiters here from those companies in Ireland. And it's all Irish companies and it'll be opportunities here in Ireland. So just keep those in your head. We will do further promotion now when during the first few weeks of semester, but just be aware those are the two dates to be aware of, depending on what degree area you're coming from, and what areas you want to go into. It's the STEM on the 9th and then the business one on the 10th. So what types of employers do we engage with? Just to give you an idea here in Ireland, so really we have large organizations, we SMEs, and then we have startups. Okay. So the larger organizations, like your big multinationals, and some of you are probably familiar with some of those organizations because they're multinationals from your home country as well. And a lot of these multinationals will offer what we call graduate programs here in Ireland, whereby they will have a set program where students go into that organization once they graduate for around 2 years or so. And it's like a training scheme where they'll train you up as a graduate. Okay. And so in terms of graduate recruitment, and I'll have another slide on it in a moment just to go into a little bit more detail. So you're aware of it before you come here to DCU and you're aware of the timeline for it. I'll go into detail about that in a moment. Then the other option is just-in-time recruitment. What that means is companies might advertise opportunities throughout the year. So say it's a big company who have a new client comes on board maybe halfway through the year and they have a need for people to come and work for them, then they might advertise opportunities at that time. Okay, so it depends on the company need. They'll advertise opportunities depending on that, and maybe if they have new clients coming in. Then we have SMEs, which is small to medium enterprises. And these are very popular in Ireland. There's a lot of SMEs, and you will see some of these SMEs at our careers fairs. So basically, what that means is they are organizations with 250 people working for them or less. Okay, so they're smaller companies, not as small as a startup, but they are quite common. I think because Ireland is a smaller country, a lot of people do set up organizations here as well. So SMEs is one to be aware of. And they will have a lot of graduate opportunities as well. And then startups, probably you're familiar with if you want to start up your own business, and that's an option too for students studying here as well. There's lots of support around that. Okay. So I've just put in a little bit there about today's labour market to secure employment as well as your academic qualifications, so as well as your degree or your master's, you want to demonstrate to employers that you have a range of skills. And I'll go into a little bit of detail about that in a minute, show you how you can develop these skills whilst you're a student here. Most of you maybe have already developed these skills through your previous experiences, but just want to hone in on that in a moment just to go into detail. Before I do, though, I want to, as I said, talk about the graduate programs and the graduate schemes. So really, a lot of the larger organizations will advertise these graduate programs maybe from like September, October time onwards. Okay. But students won't start in these graduate programs until September time next year. Okay. So that's why we have the careers fair so early in the semester. So that these organizations can come in, promote their opportunities, and students find out about them. You will go through the recruitment process. So some students may have job offers, say, by Christmas time, but that job won't start until you finish your degree or your master's until next September. Now, not all big companies do this, just to make you aware, but some of them do. And it's just to make you aware, you might see graduate roles advertised when you come into DCU now in September, but they'll be for opportunities next year on a graduate program. They usually are the larger employers and usually in areas such as finance, manufacturing, science, technology, and retail. And like I said to you earlier, the duration of the graduate program is generally for 1.5 to 2 years. And you may rotate around certain parts of the company in these graduate programs, or you may stay in one area of the company. So it really depends on the company and what they do and their sector as well. So just to make you aware of that. So moving on, I know I said to you there about what employers look for. Yes, they look for your academic qualifications, absolutely, but it's what you're doing on top of that, what you do outside of your degree, what you're doing outside of your master's. They look for a person who has a diverse set of skills that you've built over time. Okay. And what they'll do is they'll look at your skills and your transferable skills, the skills you've developed from maybe other areas, and how that can be transferred into their organization, and having a look to see which skills you have are the best fit for their organization and the jobs that they're advertising. Okay. And they'll talk to you and ask you about your skills during interviews and at the assessment process. And in your CV, that's what I'll be making sure you put in your CV, talking about the different skills that you have, be those technical skills if you come from a technical background, or be those soft skills as well. You want to make sure you highlight them in your CVs and applications. Okay. Now I've put in this link here. This is where I've got some of this information. It's a really, really good resource. It's an online guide for international students that some of the universities here in Ireland have developed. It's all relevant as well. So I've a list at the very end of this slide deck of all useful resources, but have a look at it in your own time. There's really good information in that. So what key skills do employers look for? So communication, definitely. Employers want you to be able to communicate definitely verbally whilst you're speaking, maybe with clients or if you're speaking with team members that you're working with, but also written communication. Because a lot of the stuff you'll be doing is via email as well. So just make sure you're aware of that. Even when you're going for interviews, you're communicating well with the employer, or even at the fair, you're communicating with them and building up a great rapport. And then teamwork and collaboration. No matter what job you do, be that even sitting and you're a coder, you will still have to work in a team. So you want to be able to work well in that team and, work together in terms of developing goals, depending on what the company's looking for. So you have to collaborate as well. So teamwork is a big one. So what I recommend when you come to DCU, you probably will have maybe projects that you'll be working on here in your degree or your master's. Try and, put your full self forward in those teamwork situations, try and that'll be good then if you're going for an interview to demonstrate your experiences of working in a team. Or if you've experience working in a team, whilst you've been maybe doing a part-time job or doing a more experienced job, definitely you can talk about that. And then problem solving, obviously, is a big one for definitely certain degrees, but that you're able to think on the spot and you come up with solve problems quite quickly. So employers love that. And that's another reason why employers love graduates coming into their organization, because they love this students coming in or graduates coming in who can maybe solve problems in a different way from maybe people who've been in the organization for longer. So they're coming in with new ideas, coming straight from university. So employers like that you're adaptable. Now, you're all going to be adaptable because you're actually transitioning to moving to a new country and embracing change. That's a brilliant example of that. But what other things are you doing to show your adaptability? And then your leadership. So I've mentioned to you, you probably will get projects where you're working in a team here in DCU. Maybe take the lead in some of those projects to demonstrate that, or demonstrate how you've taken the lead in the past. Have you been a leader in maybe some clubs and societies? Or if you feel you're sitting here today and you maybe need to develop these skills a little bit more, I'm going to show you how you can whilst you're here in DCU. So here we go. Um, so it's little things like how can you develop your skills here? So attend our workshops, attend our skills sessions, try and find out, what things you could be doing, get key hints and tips from us as career service, what you can be doing in terms of developing your career and what skills you can be developing in terms of that as well. Come to the fairs, come to our employer events, speak with employers. That's the best way to communicate with employers and network and find out what their companies are all about. Come to the international student event. That will be a really good one for you guys. So we'll hopefully get alumni in. We'll hopefully get employers in for that too. Attend meetups. So I'm not sure if any of you are familiar, but meetups is like a global website where you can literally click into the website. I've put the link there and you can search for meetups. So you can search for meetups around business areas, finance areas, different areas that you're interested in. There's also meetups you can do if you have a particular hobby that you're interested in. You can go and start to meet with people here in Ireland around that too. So have a look. You can tailor it down to actual topic and location. So you can keep an eye on that. Attend a bright events. There's lots of events happening, and if you're familiar with Eventbrite, you can go in and search for what's happening in your local area. So keep an eye on that as well outside of DCU. Um, maybe from your internship. Some of you may have done internships in the past, and some of you may have internships coming up if you're studying an undergraduate degree. from DCU. So thinking about that, some of you may have part-time jobs. If not, some of you may get part-time jobs whilst you're students here. Again, and that can be great. Sometimes I see students who have part-time jobs and they forget to even put it on their CV. And I'd be encouraging them to definitely put things like that in your CV because you're developing soft skills like your communication, teamwork, leadership, and so on. The companies will want to see. Yeah, it may not be relevant to the job you're applying to, but it's your soft skills that you can transfer into any other job. Volunteering, thinking about what things you can do to develop that. And then we have DCU clubs and societies. So we have a huge number of clubs and societies here in DCU. It can be great for you guys coming to a new country as well, even just to meet new people. But that can also be good to develop your employability skills, especially if you get involved in activities and organising stuff as part of the clubs and societies. Okay. Now, I have a video from employers talking about the importance of your extracurricular activities. I just hope it's going to work. So just bear with me 2 moments. I'm just going to share my screen. Perhaps Frank, you can just let me know if it's working there.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
let you know.
yeah, just bear with me 2 seconds. So let's share. Now, can you see that now, Frank?
It's still on the slides.
Oh, so it says,
You may
let's
have to
see.
stop sharing the
Yeah,
slides and then
let me see.
reshare the other
Yeah,
screen.
there we go. Stop share. And then there we go. Now, hopefully you'll be able to hear it as well.
Yeah, that's working now.
Can you hear it,
That's
Frank?
no, we're not getting any sound. It's the
I
only
think,
thing.
let me just see. Share computer sound. Can you hear it? Let me see.
No, there's
I'm a
still
big
no.
believer in
Oh yeah,
extracurricular.
the sound
Yeah.
coming through now. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, I'll just go back to the start here. Okay, so I'll just open this up. So we'll play this then. Thanks.
I'm a big believer in extracurricular activities. It just shows extra dimension. And most organisations have extracurricular as part of the job. So be it sports and social clubs, be it corporate social responsibility activities. And they do want you to get involved because it's part of who they are and they want to give back to their community a lot. Plus they want people to integrate very well.
We do look at the whole picture of the person when we are considering people for our graduate programme. So those that can demonstrate a drive and a desire to succeed, and those who are ambitious for themselves, for the organisation, and have a motivation for the career path that they've chosen.
Within BAM, we have a lot of extracurricular activities, from cycling events to charity events to book clubs. We have tennis, we have rugby, football, a lot of different activities happen within BAM, and we like to see a well-rounded individual who is interested in other areas also.
Let us know if you're interested in sports, if you're involved in societies, different groups outside of your academic work, and that is a chance to really set yourself apart and let the screeners get to know you.
For our programme, we don't just look for people who, are academically strong, but equally those who, have an interest in other areas outside of academics. So it's really, really important. I think it can be really, really beneficial, and it really demonstrates that you are an all-rounder and someone who, sets time aside for other activities aside from work.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, so that's just to give you a bit of an idea. Sometimes it's good to hear from the employer's perspective of how important doing stuff outside of your degree might be. So I'll just go back to my slides. You can all see that okay there, Frank?
Yep, we can
Yep.
see that again. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So just hearing it from the employer's perspective. Moving on then, I know I mentioned earlier, so some of you may be coming with experience already. So depending on how much experience you have, and you can come and speak to us in the career service if you're not sure. You may be going into more experienced professional roles. So you wouldn't really be going into graduate recruitment, especially if you have maybe over 2 years of experience in the area and career area that you're interested in. But again, come and speak to us if you're not sure. And I've just put a slide here for those individuals in terms of what websites you could have a look at. The key ones here in Ireland are irishjobs.ie and jobs.ie, and then Indeed can be a good one as well to search for opportunities. And then LinkedIn is a great resource as well. And lots of companies will advertise both graduate and experienced professional hire jobs. So keep an eye on LinkedIn, and definitely encourage you to come to the LinkedIn sessions that we run here in the Career Service to ensure that you have your profile up to date. If you are searching for jobs, or if recruiters are looking at your profile, that it's up to date and accurate. And we'll give you key tips on how to do that in those sessions. If you are applying for experience roles, just make sure you research the roles well. 'Cause sometimes I've seen students in the past applying for opportunities maybe that weren't the right types of roles for them. So just make sure you do that. Look at the job description. What are the requirements, and do you meet those requirements basically? So you really need to hone in for all jobs, graduate or experience, hone in on the job description and what they're looking for, and can you meet those requirements? And then you want to showcase your experience on your CV and your LinkedIn profile, okay? Because you will have, hopefully, if you are applying for these experience roles, experience relevant to the areas you're interested in. And then networking can be really important for all students. So it can, so we'll just go into a little bit about how you can network and making the most of it. So let's just go on to the next slide. So why is it important? So not all jobs might be advertised, and sometimes you want to tap into what we call is the hidden job market, whereby jobs might come about through word of mouth or through knowing someone. And this is why we would always say to students, come to our events, speak to your employers. You don't know what could come out of it. Okay, just to give you an example, I was working with an international student last year. He was studying a master's course here, and the area that that student was studying, she went off and started putting posts up on LinkedIn. She started trying to get opportunities through LinkedIn. She eventually got a part-time opportunity in that career area that she was interested in, and she worked for a big event for this organization. And as a result, then they kept her on part-time, and then she's now working there as a graduate. So it can be great to network with individuals both online and face to face. She also went to events as well. I had taken her through that Eventbrite and meetups as well. So that's why it's good to go to these different things, both online, on campus and off campus as well. So online, off campus, and on campus, just to really build up your network, okay, and find out what opportunities might be available as well. And about developing your contacts. You wouldn't really go to these networking events and ask for a job straight away. You'd meet with people, you find out what their job is, what it's like to work there, and then you'd maybe connect with them on LinkedIn afterwards and build up a good rapport and a relationship with them. And you don't know what might come out of it. Okay, so just to be aware of that. Where do you network? So like I said, like events, conferences on Eventbrite, come to our fairs and meet with employers. Again, I've seen students in the past who came and met with employers at fairs, and opportunities that come out of that as well by making a good impression when you speak to the recruiters at the employer stands. Join meetups, volunteer. It's like the stuff we talked about earlier in terms of your skills, your work experience as well. Definitely encourage you to maybe join clubs and societies, but your class as well, make the most of your classmates also, your hobbies and interests. And then over social media, you can network as well. Like I said, online networking is really important too. You've got LinkedIn, and you've also got X to do those online networking. And we will be running more sessions around this when you do come to DCU. So that's really it. It's really just a quick overview of the career service, the things that we offer, just so you have an idea before you come here. For a lot of you, we might see you in your first few weeks during your induction for your masters. A lot of the consultants will go into the sessions and just give an introduction of the career service and who we are. So we might see you then, but you're always welcome to come to us whilst you're a student here. You can book appointments and so on. You'll have full access to our vacancy board where you can book appointments as well. So what do you need to do in terms of your next steps? Now, I know you're probably bombarded. A lot of you will be traveling in the next few days or within the next week. But these are things maybe if you have time once you come here to DCE and you have settled in, these are things just to be aware of. So think about your transferable skills. Think about those skills that you have. Do you need to develop them further? And how can you do that through the different things we've talked about? There's a great link on Grad Ireland. So Grad Ireland is another great resource. It's a website here in Ireland that again works with all of the universities, and they advertise jobs as well. There's lots of resources on it also, and they have like a work pathways workflow, and it'll give you an idea of the labour market here in Ireland. So have a look at that. Make the most of networking, okay? Whilst you're here in DCU, develop your CV and your LinkedIn profile, and then you can get it reviewed here in the career service, and make the most of us whilst you are here. This is the guide I mentioned earlier. It's really good, and it's up to date. for international students studying here, and it's developed by the Irish universities here, all of the universities here in Ireland. And then ICOS is another one to be aware of. So it's the Irish Council for International Students. And again, they're a great resource, an organisation who support international students whilst they're studying here in Ireland. And again, there's lots of good resources and tips in their website. You may have heard of them already through DCU Global, but just keep an eye on their website. So that's really it. As I say, it was very quick in terms of what we do, but I know we said we'll take questions. So I'll just come back to the screen here. Bear with me, and we'll have a look at what questions are coming through.
Thanks so much, Vanita. That was a really good overview of everything.
No problem at all.
I think you've covered off a lot of stuff, and you've really shown all the work that you guys do and all the things that you can do to help students.
Yeah.
I think there's one question just about how they can get in touch with the career service team. Is there a way when they join, like
Yeah.
specifically, they get in touch?
Yeah, so we there's an email, careers@dcu.ie, but the main area where if you want to book an appointment, it's mycareer.dcu.ie, and that's where I mentioned earlier, that's where the jobs board is. That's where you can book appointment, and that's where you can see where all the events that we'll be organising are as well. So I'll pop it in maybe the chat here. So
Yeah.
mycareer.dcu. So you'll have access to this once you're a student here. Sorry, was I lagging a little bit in some of the?
No, I think it was
Could you?
working. It was working okay for me, and
Ah,
somebody else responded saying it was working fine for them as well. So I
oh,
think it might
okay,
have just
perfect.
been that person's connection.
Okay, grand, no
Um,
problem.
Somebody asked again, how can we be updated about the events? So that's the
Okay,
same place, is it?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
my career, yeah, but also every Friday, if you're going to be a final year, might not apply to you guys, but if you're going to be studying a postgraduate course, so you'll be on a master's course, every Friday we send out a newsletter to those students about our events coming up for the week ahead. But on top of that, each careers consultant will also email their cohort. So if you're not a final year, don't panic, or you're not doing a master's course, we will email through any events that are relevant to you. So keep an eye on emails coming through from anybody in DCU, but especially
Hmm.
from your careers consultants. And my career is the main area though, to search for the jobs, events, and book appointments.
Yeah, that's great. I
Okay.
think, yeah, you're right in saying not just the career service, but everything in DCU, a lot of it will come through your email. So
Yeah.
it's important just to keep an eye out on that and don't ignore emails that look like they just kind of look like general newsletters. They could have good information in them about events, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So somebody's asking about opportunities within the educational department. I assume they mean working in DCU
Yes,
after
there's,
completion of their studies.
oh, here and after
I'm
completion.
I'm
y-
guessing so. They have there's just any opportunities in the educational department. I'm not sure if they mean
Okay.
broadly
Well,
speaking or.
yeah. If you're looking for opportunities in DC, it'd be the same as maybe searching in a job in a company. You literally go into the careers available in
Mhm.
DCU, in terms of opportunities within DCU. Um, that now there is the opportunity to
Mhm.
be like a student ambassador
Yeah.
where you work in DCU for like events and stuff.
Yeah.
So that could be an option if some international students do that,
Yeah,
Frank.
so
Yeah.
our department hired student ambassadors. So
Yeah.
we'll, again, through your email, we'll send out an email probably in the first couple of weeks of your term for postgrad students.
Yeah.
And then you can apply to be a student ambassador. I know another thing students can do is be a teaching assistant
Yes.
when they graduate. Sometimes your program chair will contact you about that towards the end of your term, but that would be kind of for the following year after you graduate.
Yeah.
Um, so somebody is asking about, is the Irish job market very competitive? I know it's
Uh,
a kind of
Yeah,
tough question to answer.
that's a very general question. Like every country, it can be competitive when you're applying for jobs. You're going to be up against other students from other universities, but that's the same in any country. What I recommend is speaking to the employers at the careers fairs, coming to these events and finding out what the employers are saying, getting the key tips for what things you need to be doing to help you in terms of when you do go for interview, what things are going to set you apart. Because that's why it's good to speak to the employers.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it. It's hard to
Yeah.
kind of put an exact metric
Yeah.
on how competitive it is,
As
depending on the industry.
yeah, and yeah, it depends. Definitely depends on the industry. And if you're applying for jobs, you find it very competitive. You come and speak to us in the career service. You know, every consultant, like I said, has their own expertise in your area that you're studying. So
Mhm.
you'll meet with your relevant careers consultant through booking an appointment in my career. So come and meet with us. But yeah, it's like similar to most other countries, I would
Mhm.
say, generally.
And then someone's just asking if we can share the PowerPoint. So yeah, I'll share the
Yeah,
PowerPoint we'll send a follow-up email today. That'll have a recording of the presentation and also the PowerPoint presentation. So someone again is just asking about part-time employment opportunities on campus. So the main thing would be a student ambassador.
yeah,
So for postgrad students, that email will go out in the first couple of weeks of term, and you can apply and you'll work at events. You might help with sort of social media sort of stuff. You'll do kind of different activities throughout the year.
yeah.
Um,
And then
so
there is the student union, there is an area where they advertise local part-time jobs in the
mhm,
local area. Now, they're not all campus based, but in the local area. So you can
mhm.
keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, there's lots of great part-time employment opportunities in Ireland as well,
Yeah.
across different industries, retail, hospitality. Sometimes I know it can be tougher to get kind of more professional jobs in a part-time sort of format, but it's not impossible. I know you were saying about a student there who was ended up working part-time. So
And
it's again, it's
yeah,
just doing all the things we need to talk about, and you
yeah,
don't know what opportunities might arise.
yeah. And I have seen lots of international students with part-time jobs whilst studying.
Yeah,
Obviously, your degree and your master's is your priority, absolutely.
yeah,
But I like, have you seen a huge number who get part-time
yeah.
jobs whilst they're
And you,
studying here?
and as an international student, you can work up to 20 hours per week, and the minimum wage is 12 euro 70 cents. So you can earn a decent bit of money on the side through working part-time as well, which is great, as well as getting that experience that will help with your kind of career as well. Somebody's just asking about if they'll get a list of the employers before the fair that are going to
Yeah,
be there.
so on my career, all these employers who are coming will be there. We will also run sessions prior to the careers fair to help you prepare. And we'll go through some of the employers who are coming and we'll take you through key tips for what to do at the careers fair and what questions to ask employers. So again, this will all go out to you in terms of your first few weeks. We'll send you all the details and you can see all the companies coming on my career. So the events are already published there. So once you're a student, you'll be able to go in and access that and see straight away which companies are coming. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And somebody's just asking if companies like Google, Microsoft, or Apple give preference to DCU students. I don't think they give much preference to
Y-
it.
No, not I would say not to any.
Yeah,
And it doesn't matter where, what
yeah.
university you come from for those big organizations. But there are companies who like having DCU students work for them, definitely,
Mm.
and they will be coming to the fair and they'll be coming to your events. So that's why it's good to make a good impression with these companies here on campus because they want DCU students and they'll keep coming back then for DCU students. And they have DCU students working for them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard, I think, to say they would give preference to one or another.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they wouldn't. No company, yeah, would
Um,
do that. Yeah. Well,
how
how do
can
I?
join
Oh, do
different
clubs. It's
clubs. So there'll be
yeah,
a clubs and socks day is the main
yeah.
day. Again, in the first couple of weeks of semester one, there'll be a day where all the clubs and socks kind of have a fair and you can go and talk to them and then you can go and join. Normally you just sign up and you pay like a small joining fee. It's normally like €2 to €5. And then you'll be part of the club, you're on their mailing list, you can attend all their events, that sort of stuff. But yeah, that'll be in the first couple of weeks of semester as well.
And I've just put the link in there, Frank, in the chat for the clubs and societies, just so you can have a look at them already, just
Great.
to get an idea who they are.
Um, Will there be any differences in the career support between students who enroll in September and January? So we do have a few students who will be
Yes,
in the January intake that
yes,
would be here. So I'm
yes.
guessing it's more the same, is it?
It'll be the same now. Yeah, you may miss the big fairs, but in terms of everything else, you'll not miss the international student event, and
Hmm.
we'll hopefully have employers in for that as well. And we'll have employers on campus in semester two also. It'll just
Hmm.
not maybe be like the big fair, but we'll have
Yeah.
them on campus doing skills sessions and so on, and especially for that international event.
And the
So
January intake students will be here for kind of the first semester next year. So they'll be able to go to that big fair then as well,
perfect. Yeah,
which
that
will
fair will be running again. It runs the
yeah,
first, like around middle of semester one. Yeah, so you'll
yeah.
be able to go to that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Um You require your IELTS to be valid till next September for employers. So that's IELTS is an English exam. If you
Yeah,
don't, I don't know. I don't think employers gauge it based on an exam, do they? It's more so.
yeah, it's more. It'll it's good to have if you have it, put it in your CV, absolutely, in your applications. Some companies may ask for it, um, but it'll depend on the company. You'll have to look at the job description and depend on the
Mhm.
company. They may not all ask for it.
Yeah, some
Okay.
companies I think will just assume
Yeah,
that you've
that you have
studied,
it.
if you've studied here, that you have a
Mm,
proficiency in English, which is a fair enough thing to assume,
yeah.
I think. Um, will we be able to register in career site of DCU only after the registration is complete and they receive an individual DCU account?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
to get into my career, the careers site, you'll have to have a DCU email.
Hmm.
So, and you'll have to access through, it'll be all your DCU credentials and you'll have
Yeah.
straight access once you are a registered student. Yeah.
Students should be getting the registration information in the next couple of weeks as well. So once you just get that and you just have your email, you'll be able to do it, which shouldn't be too far away from now. Um, if we get a job right away after reaching Dublin before getting their IRP number, can we accept it and start working, or do we have to process to intimate government that we are employed? I think they're just asking. I think you'd normally have to have your IRP before they'd give you a contract, would they?
Is this for
Uh,
a part-time job, I'm assuming?
I would
Uh,
assume would be a
yeah,
part-time if it's
yeah,
for straight away.
yeah,
Most places I'd assume would want you to have your IRP already set
yeah,
up. I know you get that when you arrive and you go to immigration, but yeah, I'd say most companies would want you to have your IRP before you accept it and
yeah,
start working. Um, that's normally the kind of legal
yeah.
process around it, so I assume they would want you to have it.
And even for part-time jobs, you'll have to do an interviews. A lot of them
Yeah,
are have face-to-face interviews, even for the part-time jobs. So just be
yeah.
aware of that. Uh,
When is the registration process going to happen, and when will we get official email and student ID card? So I know for postgrad and for first year students, they're aiming for their registration to start on the week of the 26th. So it'll be from next week onwards. It'll be sometime within that week. You'll get all that sent to your email. For the student ID card, it'll be in the first week of semester normally, or the week before. Again, they'll email you the exact details for your cohort, and you can go to a place in DCU where they'll go to take your picture, they'll print your card, they'll do everything that for you. So it'll be in the next few weeks for sure. Um, I know this is a bit of a
oh, but if you get a summer internship whilst you're studying postgrad, yeah, like you will be doing your practicum, and
yeah,
that will be your priority.
yeah,
Um, and depending on what most courses, I know those practicums can be quite intense.
yeah.
So you'll have to put a lot of your time into that. And the other thing is a lot of the summer internships companies advertise are maybe more for our undergraduate students. You're
Hmm.
studying undergraduate courses. If you're a postgraduate doing a 1 year master's, you're better off either applying for graduate jobs to start after you finish your practicum or an experienced higher role if you have experience working in industry, like we talked about.
Hmm.
Um, so you ju- there is sometimes graduate summer internships, but rarely, and you'll have your practicum, and that'll be your focus for that summer. You also have to bear in mind your what your visa allows you to work as well. So
Yeah,
to be honest, any international student I've seen who's doing masters and their practicum, that's where their focus goes, their practicum that summer, because it can be quite
yeah.
intense. Yeah,
Yeah, well, from chatting to students, I'd say it's the same thing. I'd say sticking to something that's part-time work while you're doing your practicum would just give you the most amount of time that you need
yeah,
to focus on your practicum, and then to wait
yeah,
until after that
yeah.
to
Like you
look at
can
full-time employment.
exactly, and you can apply for our jobs during the summer,
Hmm.
if you wanted to start September time. But yeah, like Frank says,
Yeah,
maybe your
it
focus
does.
at the end of the day, your focus is your academics. Yes, you want to
Yeah,
do this other stuff which we talked about. Your focus is making sure you do well in your
yeah.
academics as well.
It doesn't exactly. I know they're saying violates DCU policy. There isn't an exact DCU policy around it, but I think the advice of the careers team is the advice that I would follow.
Yeah,
Just ensure you get the most out of both your working after your studies and then also your studies while you're here.
yeah.
Um, do you have recommendations for international students on how to build their profile before coming to Ireland or enjoy it during the initial days of the semester?
Okay, so
Um,
yeah, your first few days, weeks of semester will be really busy. You're transitioning into a new country, like I said, maybe a new language as well. So all of that you'll have to bear in mind. That's why we haven't um the careers fairs up until middle of semester, so you've time to settle in here. So that's your priority, settle in your first couple of weeks, and then maybe sort of around week 3, week 4, then you can start to engage within careers. That's when we'll start to run our skills sessions and so on. When we might see you in your class as well, we'll come into modules and introduce ourselves or do sessions with you. So the first couple of weeks, I would say focus on just settling in here to DCU. I'm sure you'd agree, Frank. And then you can, yeah, navigate around our My Career website, our own career service website, and you're definitely welcome to book an appointment, but give your time to set to yourself time to settle in, and then you can start coming to your skills workshops, and that'll show you how to develop your profile. You can come and book an appointment to get your LinkedIn profile reviewed, and we can take you through that as well. But you
yeah,
pace yourself as well because it's going to be a lot of change initially.
yeah, I think you're right. I think it's
Yeah,
take your time. It's a long year, and you have a lot of time to kind of look at all of these sorts of different things. So don't rush yourself into too many things at the start, and
yeah,
make sure that you're settled and stuff.
yeah.
I think there's a question just about your man just followed up about the thing about the IRP, and it's a
Oh,
very specific question, and I think it's a bit more around of a visa thing. So I
okay.
think maybe the best thing to do is to email somebody in the Irish Immigration Office, and
Yeah,
they'll be able to advise you best on whether you can start working without the IRP and how to go about it, and see if you can get maybe your IRP sooner before, or but it kind of just falls slightly outside of DCU's jurisdiction. So we probably best off if you go to Irish Immigration, and they might be able to give you the best advice. There's an interesting question. I think maybe this will be the last one that we'll take.
yeah.
What are the three biggest mistakes that graduates and postgraduate students make that you've seen, and that they should maybe try avoid to improve their chance of success?
Okay, so make the most of your time here in DCU. You're never ever going to get this again where you're studying, but you've all these things basically on your doorstep. Employers coming in on campus, you've the clubs and societies. Sometimes I see students who don't do anything outside of their degree, um, get involved in things, and it's great for you guys coming from your country to meet other people, speak to the employers. Like I say, the employers are coming on to DC campus because they want DCU students. So go and make yourself known and speak to them and network with them. That's probably one thing that maybe not a mistake, but things that students maybe don't make the most of. Another thing is don't forget about your part-time jobs on your CV. Put them on there, or any experiences that you have, even if they're not relevant to the industry. Just make sure you put them on your CV and even on your LinkedIn profile as well. And then I'm trying to think of another. I think that's two main ones I would say,
Mhm.
just to be aware of for now. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's hard to pinpoint mistakes because it's kind of different for everybody. Like everyone
That's
kind of
it.
has their own kind
Yeah.
of issues or tribulations, like that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I think it's what
Yeah.
you said there is so right about just making the most of your experience. Don't kind of have any regrets. Come and just grip it with two hands. Take up every
Yeah.
opportunity that you get inside and outside of DCU, and just
Absolutely.
you never know where an opportunity might arise from.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you seen the employers saying earlier, they love to see students who do stuff outside of their degree as well. So and you have an abundance of opportunities here
Hmm.
in DCU when you're a student.
Yeah,
So
there's
definitely
just
make the most.
one final one we can just
Yeah.
quickly answer. This
Yeah.
is just about if they can have more meetings with you when they arrive, and yeah, they can. You
Yeah.
have,
Through
yeah,
my career, that web link, it's mycareer.dcu.ie. You can book an appointment on that. Yeah.
great.
With me or whichever consultant is relevant to your faculty. So it'll be me or one of my colleagues.
Okay, great. All right, I think we'll leave it there. I think we've covered off all the questions. Thanks so much, Vanita. I think it's you can even see in the chat, everybody seems to think it was a great session, and you gave such a good overview of all the support services that are available. So hopefully they make
Thank you.
use of them, most of them
Yeah.
when they arrive now.
Thank you. And hopefully I'll see some of you in the next few weeks, and safe travels
Yeah.
over to Ireland.
Okay, perfect.
All
Thanks
right.
so much.
Thanks.
See you later,
Bye.
guys. Bye bye.
Bye.